Shalom, shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining me once again. Believe it or not, we are working our way towards the finish line of the so-called 613 laws and finding out that indeed some of them are not laws, but traditions that have been added. 13 is the count so far, 13 commandments that are actually Judaic traditions and customs, erroneous additions that do not match the scripture they are based on. If you don't already have the Judaic list of 613, you can download it from Shabbat.org or Aish.com. Search 613 and it should pull up for you. You can follow along with me. Each law is listed with its scriptural reference right alongside it. I will give credit to Maimonides for categorizing the commandments in a way that is comprehensive. What I do not appreciate is the addition of traditions, and I'm sure those additions were there before he codified it. But because he organized the laws in this manner, it's easy for us to detect and differentiate between the true laws and the additions. If you pull up the scriptural reference and it says nothing about the law on the list, that's either because its actual scriptural reference is not found in that scripture but elsewhere, or it's a made-up law that should not have been added. So I suggest you read the entire passage to see if the commandment is found elsewhere. I'm placing 1 asterisk by the laws that need to be omitted, 2 asterisks by the laws that just need to be changed a little to fit their scriptural reference, and 3 asterisks by the laws that are valid but can no longer be kept today. Some laws are temple specific, meaning if there's no temple, we can't keep it. And there will be several of those laws in this video. Or they are land specific. We can no longer keep it because we're not in the land. So let's get started. Our last video talked about forbidden foods and mixed foods planted together or genetically modified such that they no longer had the nutrition that they should have. So I want to skip ahead a little and look at laws number 234 through 238 because they too deal with mixed species. Then we will continue where we left off at 209. Law number 234 says not to plant diverse seeds together. It does sound a lot like law number 201, not to eat diverse seeds planted in a vineyard, but that law dealt with what you eat. This law deals with what you should plant. We should not plant diverse seeds together. It's based on Leviticus 19:19, which reads, "Ye shall keep my statutes," and it goes on to say, "Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed." Law 235, not to plant grains or greens in a vineyard. Sounds like a repeat of 234, but it's placing emphasis between diverse seed and grains or greens being planted in a vineyard. We're commanded in 201 not to eat such food. Here we're commanded not to plant it to begin with. So that's what the law says about mixed plants. But what does it say about mixed animals? We're commanded in law number 236 not to crossbreed animals. Based on Leviticus 19:19, "Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with diverse kind." So we're not to experiment with animals mixing different breeds together. This is to honor the distinction between them. We see that many animals are indeed mixed breeds, but the next law tells us how to prevent this from happening. Law number 237, not to work different animals together. Based on Deuteronomy 22:10, "Thou shalt not plow with an ox and an ass together." This is how we prevent animals from mixing together, keeping them separated. This minimizes the chance of mixed breeding. Law number 238, not to wear shatnez, a cloth woven of wool and linen. Deuteronomy 22:11 says, "Thou shalt not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together." So even our clothes are to be woven of single material rather than mixed materials. You may say, well, why? What's the difference? What difference does it make? But much of what the Most High was establishing with us was simply distinction. So when the world sees you, they know this is an Israelite. Because when we mix in with everyone else, we become like them. It's pretty simple. People always quote the scripture about being ashamed of Christ among men. What about us as a nation being ashamed of the Most High among men? Everything the Most High has done to establish his people was purposed to distinguish us from the rest. And if we obey those commands, we're essentially saying we're not ashamed to look like Hebrew Israelites, to dress like a Hebrew Israelite, to have the mezuzah on our doorposts, the tassels on our garments. We're not ashamed of who we are. Moving on now to the laws of oaths. Oaths are all about integrity and character, ethics, doing the right thing, doing what you said you would do, keeping your promises. Your actions are telling of your character. And so this section of laws starts out with the Most High's integrity and character. Law number 209, not to swear falsely in the Most High's name. It's based on Leviticus 19:12. Do not swear falsely by my name, and so profane the name of your God. I am the Most High. If you look back on law number 7, not to profane his name, we see here one of the ways to profane his name is to swear falsely by it, associating the Most High's name with something it should not be associated with, like a lie, mixing the Most High, who's the truth, with a lie to try to give credibility to that lie. Maybe the best example is when you're watching an award ceremony on TV and someone who creates the most distasteful, classless, and disrespectful, degrading music goes up to accept the award. And the first thing they say is, I want to give thanks to God. Your music has never mentioned God ever. In fact, you've done nothing but degrade women, degrade Black America, but now you want to associate what you do with God. You can't do that. Why? Because everything birthed from him looks like him. True ambassadors of him look like him. You can't be half naked every time you perform and then thank God every time you win an award. Most High has nothing to do with that award, nor does thanking him validate what you do. So we can't put his name on our mess in an attempt to make our mess good. This law is about swearing falsely in the Most High's name, associating him with something he should not be associated with. He's just as concerned with his name being attached to falsehoods as he is concerned with the falsehoods themselves. Law number 210, not to take the Most High's name in vain. Based on Exodus 20, verse 7, thou shalt not take the name of the Most High in vain, for the Most High will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. In these laws, we're seeing how the Most High is demanding his respect. So these laws are in regards to his person, his integrity, his character. We're commanded not to use his name in vain. Don't just throw it around meaninglessly in conversation. Vain means without value or worthless or false. When his name is misused, the perception of his integrity is tainted. The world may refer to him in various ways, but we are to uphold him always. When he says he will not hold anyone guiltless, that means he intends to hold those accountable who misuse his name. Law 211, not to deny possession of something entrusted to you. Based on Leviticus 19:11, ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. This law deals with stealing. We're commanded not to deny possession or take what is not our own. You let me borrow $100, and I later claim I never got it from you. You entrusted me with something, and now I'm denying possession of that something. I basically stole it. Thieves have rotten character. Get your own. Don't wait until someone works hard for theirs and then take it from them. That's nasty. It's rotten. Get your own. And if you don't know how, ask. Learn how. And then go get it the proper way, the honest way. Because face it, it's no fun being rich with possessions you stole, but constantly have to look over your shoulder so you don't get caught. And then having to do time when all you had to do was live honestly instead of robbing others of what they worked hard for. It's not worth it. I don't think any of my listeners fall into this category, but we all come from somewhere and struggle with something. So that may be your struggle, wanting to provide for your family or have a certain lifestyle that you're willing to do anything for. Sacrificing your integrity. Don't be that person. Everything we do it with respect and honor. We represent the Most High in all that we do. Law 212, not to swear in denial of a monetary claim. Same scripture, Leviticus 19:11, ye shall not steal, deal falsely, or lie one to another. This law deals with lying, particularly about a monetary claim. The best reference for this law is found in verse 13, which reads, thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. So this is the monetary claim the law is talking about, wages. If you're a business owner, you're commanded here to pay your employees on time. Scripture says the wages shall not abide with you all night until the morning, meaning you need to pay the people who labor for you and have a monetary claim on their wages. Do not deny them their pay. Again, laws 209 through 213 are all about oaths, keeping the Most High at a certain level of integrity and us living up to that level in our daily lives. Law number 213, to swear in the Most High's name to confirm the truth when deemed necessary by court, is based on Deuteronomy 10:20, thou shalt fear the Most High and swear by his name. The commandment found here is to swear by the Most High's name. You'll see this acted out in court when they make you put your hand on the Bible, make you swear on it to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. So they are keeping that portion of the law. Now we're getting into laws of vows. Law number 214, to fulfill what was uttered and to do what was avowed. Laws about keeping your word. We see this law is based on Deuteronomy 23:23, but is best represented in verse 24, which reads, that which is gone out of thy lips thou shalt keep and perform, even a free will offering according as thou hast vowed unto the Most High, which thou hast promised with thy mouth. We're commanded to keep the promises we make to others. Our reliability is our credibility. Law number 215, not to break oaths or vows, based on Numbers 30, verse 3. But this commandment is a repeat of law number 214, found in Deuteronomy 23:23, not to break a vow. It did not need to be repeated, and it should be omitted. Law number 216, for oaths and vows annulled, there are laws of annulling vows explicit in the Torah. This law is based on Numbers 30, verse 3 through 16. It's a long passage, so I will not read it, but it deals with what happens when a woman has made a vow and her father either agrees with it or disagrees with it. The same with her husband. According to the passage, a woman's vow can be invalidated by the father if she's a single daughter, or by her husband if she's married, showing the submission of a woman to her father or husband. This takes us back to what I was saying about a man being the head of the household. In my previous video, I explained how the head of the household role should not be envied, because what you see here is a father being held accountable for his daughter's decisions. So he's deciphering whether or not the vow should have been made and invalidating it if she should not have made it. Same for her husband. He has the authority to cancel his wife's vows if he disagrees with it, because if anything goes wrong, it falls on him as the head of the home. Laws of Nazir, also called a Nazirite, refers to the one who voluntarily took a vow to be holy. The Hebrew word Nazir means consecrated or separated. The vow requires them to abstain from wine, wine vinegar, grapes, raisins, intoxicating liquors, vinegar distilled from such substances, and eating or drinking any substance that contains any trace of grapes. It also required them to refrain from cutting their hair and to not become ritually impure by having contact with a corpse. After following these requirements for a specified period of time, they would immerse in a ritual bath and make 3 offerings: a burnt offering, a sin offering, and a peace offering. Their heads were finally shaved in the outer court of the temple in Jerusalem. The best way to describe a Nazir today would be like a monk, but of course the Christian and Buddhist monks deviate from the requirements of this law. It's debatable whether or not the following 10 laws can be kept today, because this particular Nazirite process involves the temple, which is no longer in place, and the temple is a requirement to complete this vow process. For this reason, I have placed 3 asterisks by all of them, because they can no longer be kept completely today. But it's still widely believed that you can still become a Nazirite in spirit. You just can't bring an offering to the temple to complete the vow. Law number 217, the Nazir must let his hair grow, based on Numbers 6:5. Law number 218, he must not cut his hair, based on Numbers 6:5. You see, I placed 1 asterisk by this one. It's a repeat law. Law 217 says they must let their hair grow. We all know that this entails not cutting it. So this is a repeat law that needs to be omitted. Law 219, he must not drink wine, wine mixtures, or wine vinegar, based on Numbers 6:3. Law 220, he must not eat fresh grapes. Law 221, he must not eat raisins. Law 222, he must not eat grape seeds. Law 223, he must not eat grape skins. Law 224, he must not be under the same roof as a corpse. Law 225, he must not come into contact with the dead. And Law 226, he must shave after bringing sacrifices upon completion of his Nazarite period, based on Numbers 6:9. We see this law is based on Numbers 6:9, but should be based on verse 18, as this is where the law can be found. Its scriptural reference needs to be changed, but it too can no longer be kept today. Now looking at the laws of estimated values and vows. Leviticus 27 deals with determining the value of things or persons vowed to the Most High and given over to the priests. At redemption, the Torah determines their value. Vows were promises made with prayer, by abstinence, and offering or sacrifice. One could devote himself, his children, his animals, or his goods. So these commandments pertain to the valuation of those things or persons vowed. But after consecrating these things, if he later refuses to redeem them back, they became the property of the priest, sold for the profit of the temple. And if it were a person, they would spend the rest of their lives serving in the temple. So you'll see 3 asterisks by all of these as well, because they involve the temple and the priest. They can no longer be kept today. They're valid laws, but they can no longer be carried out. They are the following. Law number 227, to estimate the value of vowels as determined by the Torah. 228, to estimate the value of consecrated animals by the Torah. 229, to estimate the value of consecrated homes by the Torah. 230, to estimate the value of consecrated fields by the Torah. Law 231, to carry out the laws of interdicting or forbidden possessions. Law 232, not to sell cherem. Law 233, not to redeem cherem. So we've gone over more laws pertaining to mixed species and laws on oaths, vows, and the Nazarite who dedicates himself to the service of the Most High. We've gone over lying, stealing, and associating the Most High with things he should not be associated with. 238 laws total. We've seen 15 laws that need to be omitted because they were repeats or false additions, 26 laws that need to be changed to fit their scriptural reference, and 25 laws that can no longer be kept today. So although we've reviewed 238 laws so far, 15 of them should not have been added by Judaism. So there are only 223 true laws within them so far. I want to thank you guys for joining me today and following along on my blog site, riseofthechosen.blogspot.com. Until next time, this is Judiah. Shalom.